On the Rave!
Hi, this is Mark Archer from Alternate.
Hi, this is Ian from Dream Frequency.
This is Slipmatt, and you're in tune to the On the Rave.
On the Rave.
On the Rave!
Podcast.
Watch your bass fins, I'm telling you.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. I am that chip frying, beard dying motherfucker from Biker who hosts the longest running weekly episodic podcast in the history of all Biker. Gav.
You missed rave out of there, Gav.
A rave podcast.
And I am the sick doctor is a fucking bellend liar. I've definitely got a chest infection. I'm Addy.
Addy seriously needs antibiotics.
Fucking anyone. Send me them. Carry a pigeon high spend, please. Tomorrow morning.
Care of Pat's window. Either way, welcome to the On the Wave podcast. Addy is sick, and you'll have to put up with these dulcet tones. You know,
Seriously, I'm not Tony Fury.
Yeah, he's trying his darndest to pull himself together, but he's under the weather.
I'm trying. I've been out a long time today.
Yeah. Well, we've just been to tacos.
Tacos were delicious.
Yeah, to try and make me feel better. I thought it might blow some of the. Go on, you're gonna make noise in any case. This is Addy making noise with lozenges.
Through sweets.
He forgets that this is an audio thing and that everyone can hear. Everyone's going to hear him clacking that. I'll tell you what, let's cover the sound of you clacking that by playing a bit of a tune, shall we?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Well, we start all of these podcasts the same way with a little bit of Raver's Choice. Addy's been thumbing through his Facebook, as he always does.
Thumbed it in.
He thumbed it in, and he's picked a blinder. Addy, what we're going with today?
We're going with DJ Fantasy and Gemini, Never Tried the Hippodrome, and it was picked by Chris Goffin.
Right, spot on. Thank you very much, Goffy. Let's get going with some Raver's Choice. The On The Rave podcast is available absolutely everywhere to download, and you can get in touch with us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/On The Rave. You can find us on Twitter @On The Rave. You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/On The Rave. We are on Instagram.
That's my favourite one then.
Where you can find us on the rave with Addy and Gav, where you can see pictures of what Addy's been doing during the week.
Shenanigans.
We are powered by Podbean
And fueled by Basement Snacks.
Don't forget that you can go into Ridley Place, wander down that spiral staircase and scream at Dom's
On The Rave!
and she will give you 10% off all of your cookies and snacks. Oh,
Goodness.
it's good. Oh, it's good.
Take the mention. I'll stop crunching and start sucking, Gav.
You will, definitely. Addy, what was that? That was Raver's choice.
That was DJ Fantasy and Gemini. Never try the Hypnodrome.
There we're going. Spotty Dog, well, let's just keep rolling on with the podcast. Seeing as Addy's ill and time is money.
Money is power.
What time
Money,
is money?
money, money,
Money
money.
is power. And the power is held by the man who withholds antibiotics.
Does Dr. Dickhead.
Dr. Dick, do you know what his real name was?
Dr. Dickhead.
He's
Dr. Dickhead MD.
way. There we go. Sound, well, this month we've decided to get a little bit interactive with our audience and get our patrons on the show. It was
Just come from somewhere that doesn't exist, Gav.
well, that's it, yeah. Our actual first guest, who comes from somewhere that doesn't exist, because the first time round, the technology let us down, didn't it?
Did. For Uncle Paul it did.
Yeah. But we'll get back on with Uncle Paul.
Now he's moved to Perth. That also doesn't exist.
Yeah, well, that's it. But all the way from the land down under, our wonderful, wonderful patron, Coops Deans, is here with us. Coops, how's it going?
It's going all right, and as you can tell by my accent, I sound really, really Australian, because I'm probably from...
Straight out of Sunderland.
I'm not from Sunderland, I'm not Macam.
Didn't make it very quick there,
Didn't
like.
start. No, I'm actually from Peterlee.
Never.
I am.
No, with that
No,
thick
'cause
accent, I would never have guessed you were actually originally from Peterlee. But you've been living in Australia recently
Aye, for about 9 years.
for about 9 years.
Yeah, I live in Brisbane.
Right, Sam, what do you do in Brisbane?
What do? I work with kids in foster care, so just helping them secure the placement so they don't end up in residentials, and yeah.
Mate, that's a class job. I totally would crumble under the pressure of doing that job. I think it's probably because I just don't do well around kids, to be fair. Like proper kids, or do
I
you
couldn't
mean
eat a whole one.
No, well, I just like, I don't know. I like giving kids back. Are you looking for the cat there?
Yeah.
There was a jingle of a cat climbing to a window, and Addy looked.
I was just expecting toadfish to perch, yeah.
Oh no, Tony's the one that doesn't make noise. We're recording in a different room because it's hot upstairs.
It's hot as fuck.
It's hot upstairs, so we're recording downstairs in the living room.
I forgot how hot the biker wall was, actually.
Yeah, you used to live around these parts as
I
well,
did,
didn't you?
on
So you've
Dalton
been subject to the biker community heating phenomena. Pay a lot of money and don't use it all summer, but by God, do you rinse it in the winter?
Summer's the worst though. And
Yeah.
the smell of pigeon shit on your veranda, and yeah.
Yeah,
you
I think
really
I'm
saw
lucky
that.
not to have one of those little verandas. Although, I don't know, my missus would probably love a little veranda to stand and vape on. Like,
You couldn't stand on them though. They were diseased with pigeon shit. It was like 4 inches worth.
oh, was that before they put all the netting on them to stop them coming
Aye.
in?
It was really, really bad.
Did you know there's a colour around here called biker green? The colour that the wall was all originally painted in is called biker green. And apparently the people in biker have got some sort of like claim or copyright to it. Good friend of mine, the person who owns the house that we're recording in, Tony Fury, told us about it. So I'll get him to clarify his bullshit. And I'll
That very well could be bullshit.
yeah, that's it. But no, it's called biker green, man. But yeah, so sound.
It could be true. Do you want to know a story though? When I lived in Peterlee, I always wanted to escape. So I used to play the nick off school, come through here, and I always wanted to live on the bike.
To the bright side.
But I wanted to live on the biker wall because I'd learnt about it in geography, and I
Did
was
you
like
learn that
really
it's
wanted
the-
to live on the biker wall, and when
It's
I
the
did,
only thing that you
I
can
did
see Newcastle from space.
The biker wall?
Yeah.
Is it? I want that so bad to be a fact, but I know you've just... I want that to be a fact, but you just picked up a rum and coke while we're going, so whether or not that is actually
Lubrication
gospel.
is needed,
Yeah,
listeners.
lubrication for that throat and for just the socialness of the occasion as is.
Yes.
Well, it's meant to have you here on the show. It's
for having
nice
me.
for you to be be here and get on the river and have some banter about some tunes there. So let's just crack on and do the first section of the podcast, which is early influences. So, who played the music in the house? Well, like when you were younger, who were the early people who pushed music on you?
Probably my mum would be the main person. So like I grew up with my mum and my stepdad, and like there was a little bit of a generation between them. Mum was a bit older and she was like more eclectic with her music.
Right.
So I was brought up like heavily on things like Black Sabbath and Cream, Rory Gallagher.
Right.
Also Beatles, Jimi Hendrix, all of these people that my mum had actually seen live.
Yeah.
And she was like...
So pretty much just classic rock.
Yeah, but like she just... I don't know. I actually like later on, like before she died and that, and I think Bob Dylan, like in his later days, he played at the arena.
Right.
And me and my mum went to see him, and it was just like, it was mint, do you know what I mean? I mean, I know he's getting on, he can't sing as good as he used to, but it was just like to share that experience with her.
Yeah.
But like, that's all the stuff I was like brought up with. I mean, some of the stuff I didn't like so much, but it was still worth listening to. And then she also liked a lot of blues as well, so
Right.
I just got to hear everything because of her. And my stepdad, he was more of like a into kind of rock and roll. So then I had all that kind of influence as well. He was a big Elvis Presley fan.
I was gonna go to Elvis. That was my key.
Yeah,
It was like,
Elvis.
was he an Elvis man?
Buddy Holly, you know, all that kind of stuff as well. So I got to listen to all that. So it was whoever I was in the house with is what I got to hear.
Yeah.
But there was always music playing.
Yeah. Was it their collections or was it just like their choice of radio station?
No, it was their collections.
Yeah.
That my stepdad still got. It's all in the loft.
Yeah. Vinyl or?
Aye,
Oh,
all vinyl.
We love vinyl.
we love
Yeah.
a bit of vinyl.
Like my mum's vinyl collection was like, you know, it was epic.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she sold a bit in the end, and then she like got a lot burnt onto CD and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because like they moved from a big house into like a little bungalow type thing.
It does take up a lot of space.
Yeah. But I
And
think
it's heavy as a bastard.
Yeah, that's the thing with vinyl though. There's something nice about actually having the physical version of it that you put on and press play with. Like, I need some sort of new vinyl playing device, like, because I've got so many records upstairs that I've
Records.
bought and that I've like never played. So yeah.
But even my nan, I mean, I lost my grandparents like when I was really young, and especially my maternal grandparents, like when I was 5 and then 8, my grandma went. But I just remember she had one of those like really old-fashioned record players that were like, it looked more like a table, like a space age kind of table thing.
My nana had one of them in
Aye.
the hallway, and you open the lid up and
Yeah.
it had like the little slot where you could put the records.
That's how record players used to be.
Yeah, that's it. It was all built in with the felt line speakers underneath and stuff like
Yeah.
that. See, it was for years I didn't know what that was, and then just one day when she was dusting it, she took the stuff off it when I was living with her for a little bit. She took the stuff off it and dusted it and opened it, and I was like, eee! Like I'd seen that in her house for years and years and didn't realise it was a record player, man.
Well, she
Amazing.
used to let us like kind of mess around with it and stuff like that because she was really anti-TV, and it was like the only TV she ended up having was like this black and white portable, and
Right.
like where you had to do the dial.
Yeah, you have to tune the channels in
But, like,
manually.
the thing about my nan was that she was 40 when she had me mum, so she was like really, really old. So like the kind of music she had was really. I remember this one album. It was like Hawaiian volcano summoning music. So we used to just put it on and do like the whole like fucking.
A little ukulele
thing.
music.
Aye,
That's amazing.
I know.
That's class. I love a bit of ukulele. You know what it is? I got a ukulele.
I just
for me
hit
last
20,000 steps.
20,000 steps. 20,000 steps.
Sorry.
Well, you've only got little legs though. That's probably only like 20,000. That's probably
It's
only
nice,
like
cheap,
2,000s of mine.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of competitiveness with the step thing.
Do you take more steps than them?
Yeah, all
Yeah.
the time.
All
I've
the
been
time?
ill all week, so, you know.
Yeah.
Don't take advantage of someone in
I reckon there's probably some sort of definite scientific fact that we could link this to do with like the length of the bones from hip to knee and knee to foot.
I could make up any old shit.
You can make up any old
Yeah,
shit.
pretty much.
Yeah, you could, couldn't you?
Yeah.
You'd get away with it as well because he's an absolute tinker.
Yes.
Also,
Despicable.
the despicable tinker, the habitual line stepper.
There's only one despicable person in here, which is ginger as fuck.
Ooh, dear me. Well,
Orange.
before this gets into full on actual fights, let's pick a tune to represent all these early influences. Then.
Well, I'm actually going to go for like the Northeast band, and I picked this one because this was like, I just remember being on a Sunday when she was doing her cleaning,
Right.
and I loved it, and it kind of combines her and my stepdad in a way. So the Animals, House of the Rising Sun.
Oh,
Shoot.
that's an absolute belter. I don't think we've played the Animals before.
No.
I used to work in a bar, I think owned by the son of one of the guys from the Animals, Tedious Link. But yeah, cool. Let's play a bit of Animals, and this is House of the Rising Sun.
There is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. In God, I know I'm one. My mother was a tailor. She sewed my new blue jeans. My father was a gambling man down in New Orleans. Now the only thing a gambler needs is a suitcase and a truck, and the only time he's satisfied is when he's on a drum. Oh, mother, tell your children not to do what I have done. Spend your lives in sin and misery in the house of the rising sun. I'm going back to New Orleans.
way, and there you have it. That was a little bit of House of the Rising Sun by the Animals, local band.
And there is a house in New Orleans, officially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. There's probably a few that reckon that is actually the House of the Rising Sun. How many of them have got that claim to fame, do you think, Addy? 12. Addy's audio assisted today by the Squatch mic again. I don't know what sounds worse though, him normally or him on the Squatch mic.
I don't know either.
Yeah. I'm sure we're about to find out because we're about to start section 2 and Addy, guess what?
What's that, Gav?
It's only a 2 to 1.
Can't do a hot steady.
Get up. No. I'm confiscating it. You're confiscating it. There we go. It's a 2 to 1. And Coops has chose to play a wild card nice and early. So let's have a bit of crack about finding your own feet.
Alright.
Before we actually reveal the 2 tracks that we're going to play. So, after the music that was pushed on you by your ma, or spending time with your nana's records, what sort of thing?
Your nan wears Crocs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your dad wears Crocs.
It could be worse. You're da sales
It's in your works. One of the holes, one of the graffiti on the wall is just your dad wears Crocs.
Ah, there you go.
Everybody wears Crocs in Australia, with socks as well.
Crocs and socks.
Crocs and socks.
The
yeah.
kid here.
Criminals, all criminals, criminals, stealing things, ruining fashion. I'm guessing that's where sliders come from.
Yes,
Flip flops,
it is.
bastards.
It's
Flip flops.
The mullet.
sliders and thongs and the mullet.
Yeah,
They all
the mullet.
have mullets.
Yeah.
Steel
Like-
and rat's tails.
I think go on, say it. That's all criminals.
Well, that's it.
Why do you think I want to be back?
Yeah.
I can't stand it anymore.
Feel better amongst your own.
Yeah.
All descended from criminals. Well, after a short Australian
Right.
ration lesson, let's crack on and actually talk about finding your own feet. So, what sort of tunes were you finding?
Well, I think I actually let my mum down by the first record I ever bought, and it was out my pocket money from Woolworths, like you did back in the day, because that's where you went for your records.
Yeah. And your
Um,
tiny cans of pop.
Oh yes.
Like,
And just steal out of the fucking
out of the,
sweeties.
Yeah, you
Pick and
always.
mix.
Yeah.
That's where I got my first Pez as well.
What was your Pez dispenser?
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
your first one? Mine was Donald Duck. Go.
I think it was a Mickey Mouse one. It's
Disney
pretty
was
sham,
popular back
actually.
in the day.
I couldn't tell you what the first one I got was, but I can tell you that there is one currently just up there in this room. There's a Pez dispenser there, a Star Wars one, and he has been sat there for quite some time. I think the actual Pez is probably dead,
That's epic.
but the dispenser's still in its
My
packet.
favourite flavour of Pez was cherry though.
The cherry ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, like back then I always quite liked the lemony ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
It's like Pez. It's great.
Just knock the head back. You know, I think in the end I'd often just get bored of knocking the head back and
Just
just
pour it
open
in.
the packet
You got-
and haul them in.
You got a Pikachu one?
I've got a Pikachu one, so one Kylie gave us it for my birthday.
Oh, there you go. Pikachu, Pez.
But anyway, back to me record.
Well done.
It was a 7-inch version of
Segway.
KC and the Sunshine Band. Give It Up. That was the first record I ever bought, but that's not what I'm choosing to play. So just don't go there.
No, that's
But
alright.
I think I'll let my mum down. And then the
I
first.
don't mind a bit of KC in the Sunshine, but I think Walking on Sunshine is an absolute tune.
I don't know why I bought it. I just must have liked it. And then the first album I ever bought was Duran Duran Rio, and I've still got it.
Was it because of the exotic cover?
No,
You just like the music?
Because
I was just
even
like- I was
then, he
in-
wanted to travel.
I was into Duran Duran at the time. Like all my mates were into like Madonna and shit, and I was just like, nah.
He had mullets as well. Segway was tedious link.
More tedious Lincoln.
Mullets,
Mullet.
Australians, criminals, and we're back in the game.
Duran Duran.
Duran Duran.
Yeah, full circle.
I think I just literally listened to anything back then, anything that I could kind of get my hands on, because I wanted to kind of rebel against my mum. You know, when you're in that age where you're just like, even though like now, I think the music she listened to was amazing and it like really influenced us. Back then I was like, nah, I don't want to listen to that. It's shit, and I'm just going to listen to anything I can get my hands on.
Yeah, just to rebel for rebel's sake.
I didn't like the 80s very much, and I was like, Duran Duran was the only kind of band. It wasn't like until like later, like 88, 89, when I really started to kind of get into music. And obviously it was all like, it was like what it was saying, the Second Summer Love, so it was all like the acid house coming through and stuff like that. But obviously I was too young to kind of
Be raving.
to be where I look like a 9-year-old anyway. So it was just like listening to the music, and the only way that we could listen to music that we really wanted to was obviously it was Peter Lee, and they started doing these leisure centre discos, and it was like the under 18s discos.
But that was the scariest disco in the area, the fucking world.
Huh?
I think I'm probably the scariest disco.
It wasn't, and it was
After being in Peter Lee for the grand total of an hour the other week, I can guarantee that was a scary disco.
What were you doing in Peter Lee for 1 hour?
I got there by mistake.
he got lost in Peter Lee.
I got the wrong bus trying to go to Dalton Park and ended up in Peter Lee.
Were you going to go to the Adidas shop at Dalton Park?
Yes.
Was there anything good?
No, there wasn't.
No, there wasn't. I'm
We went
really,
there,
really
yeah.
disappointed because that's like
Shit.
one of the big things why I come home is just to like totally top up on my Adidas collection.
Yeah, I love
It's
a
got
bit.
shit.
I love a bit of the 3 stripes. Can't stop it. Every
Mm-hmm.
day, it's got to be 3 stripes. He wears the wrong brand of trainers. I keep telling him all the time. It does.
This is true.
Yeah, the brand with the 3 stripes is the right brand. It just is.
Yeah.
Music.
But back to the leisure centre discos, and
I
so
bet you there was some fucking Adidas pants at those leisure centre discos though. Was everyone wearing? Was it
I bet there was a
matching
load of
tracksuits?
high-tech ones.
High tech ones.
oh, there was lots of high tech, and what was those baseball boots everyone used to wear?
British
Converse.
Knights.
No, British Knights, aye,
British Knights.
big British Knights.
Big K's.
Because
With big fat tongues.
there was a lot.
But there's another one as well that you're leaving out, Troop. Troop were big like that.
I didn't know that one.
British Knight and Troop. I don't know, head on a battle. Like, I
They were
know
a battle for skater shoes, undercard supremacy.
they weren't even like fucking skater shoes, those fucking weird fucking ass shoes.
But it was like a really exciting time because there was loads of everyone was into different things. So there was a lot of like the hip hop crowd, and there was a lot of breakdancing happened, and there was lads turn up the disco with the massive clocks around their necks and stuff like that. And
Thinking to a Flavor Flav.
Stolen off their mom's kitchen wall.
But
Harvey Sheila, you'll bring it back, man.
so
He's just going to solder it to this chain for 5.
So it was just exciting times, and obviously another fellow person from Pete Lee, Tony Daly, who runs 586 Records in the Toon. That's how we met, was through the Leisure Centre Disco. So he came and saw, I had a little exhibition today, and he popped in, and we were saying like how someone said, "Oh, how do you know?" So we've known each other like 30 years. Do you know what I mean? And we used to go to the Leisure Centre Discos together. It was like. But that was the place to go for music, because obviously we couldn't get in anywhere else. Or well, I definitely couldn't anyway. Another thing about the Leisure Centre Discos was obviously just getting boozed up. So I was really into Woodpecker Cider at the time. So
Bright orange woodpecker.
aye, so
Fizzy as fuck.
Yeah.
it was.
Heartburn in a can.
Yeah.
Well, didn't get heartburn, was like 14, 15 years old, but
Yeah, it's
it
just when you
definitely
get-
gave you a bit of wind.
Yeah, when you get to being an old man that the heartburn cuts into play.
Like
and
last
starts
week in
chilling.
Hardcore Fighters when the sharp fruits crippled us.
Sham Fruits is proper rank, man. You know what it is? You'll have better joy going to fucking Sergeant Pepper's and actually getting the kind of woodpecker. The bright orange cider that just has never been anywhere near an apple. Like,
I don't know how I drank it for years though. But yeah, I used to just get really, really pissed and then
Peter
just...
Lee, you didn't know any better.
No, we didn't. It was either that or Thunderbird, but I used to white me pretty badly off Thunderbird.
off the Thunderbird stuff.
Aye.
The MD as well, the like the MD 2020s, all the different flavours.
I wasn't really into them. Everybody else was, but I just thought Thunderbird was better until like you
Because
white
of the
me.
puppets.
No, it's just...
I was classic QC Sherry until I found Buckfast, of course.
And of course,
I-
we are rejoined
Never-
by
right.
Tony
QC Sherry
Fury.
and Guinness, nobody fucking dare ask you for any of that shit. I've
To
never
be
had
fair, when I was at school, I used to drink brown ale for that reason, because no one wants to drink brown ale. When you're a kid.
That's
no,
it.
really a kid, nah.
When everyone was on the lagers and stuff like that, I'd buy Strongbow and everyone would pull a face at you.
See, I
Drink
don't
a
like Strongbow.
That's it, it was just heartburn in a can.
I'll tell you what was good though, like port. I was dead into port because it was the one thing that you could nick from people's parents'
that's
houses.
true, like, it is
And then
true.
like proper got you pissed really quickly. Port.
I've never really dug into the port and stuff like that, like.
With WKD Blue, makes a lovely pint of Vinto.
Oh, it does, like cheeky.
It does, Cheeky Vinto is very nice.
What's that?
Port and
Port.
WKD Blue makes
Port
Vinto.
and Blue Wicked.
I didn't know tried it.
No,
No, you gotta go for at least a treble measure and get a 40 bottle. Like that, pour it in. It tastes exactly like mint Vinto.
That sounds like danger, that does like.
Oh, aye.
It sounds like
We used to do
absolute danger.
loads of cheeky Vinto. Rafferty's. Guaranteed you'd have it in Rafferty's.
Yeah, Rafferty's is
It's a-
like it's the Mos Eisley Cantina of drinking establishments in Newcastle.
Love Rafts, like.
Love
Love you, Rafts.
I like the amount of times we've spent nights in Rafferty's banging trebles until we can't see. The other voice you can hear in the background for anyone who's uninitiated is actually my landlord, Tony.
Hello.
You've already
He's,
had a mention, actually, hasn't
Yeah,
he?
that's all right.
Imposter.
He just come to join me for 5 minutes because he was bored, basically. Like, but we'll just crack on. So let's talk about the actual tunes
All right,
that
wait.
you picked. So
Wait, I'll just go into it because, like, obviously, like, my music tastes were expanding, and then obviously once I got like the 15, 16, then the whole Manchester thing like blew up,
yeah,
and that was it. I was just like, what is this, and who are these people, and just give me more. And I obviously one of my favourite bands of all time is the Stone Roses, and I love them, and it's probably the only band I haven't seen. Like the whole Spike Island thing, there was no way my mum was going to let me get on a bus and go down there and see my favourite band. But I managed to get to see like the Charlatans and Spiral Carpets. I saw Happy Mondays at Whitley Bay Ice Rink.
amazing.
Yeah, with Clint Boone, right, when I went to see the Spiral Carpets at the Mayfair, Clint Boone saved my life. I was getting crushed at the front. He signalled to the bouncer to pull us out. I was like covered from like my neck down because I'm only a midget. And I was just covered in bruises the next day.
Don't
But
tell
it was-
You're
Carl
not a
that.
midget, like you're little, but you're definitely not a midget. Like.
I think I'm about half an inch off being a midget officially.
No, but I'm sure it's not the height that makes you a midget, isn't it? The unproportionate. Don't make claw sounds like they're not like.
That was the big little stubby. That's stubby finger.
Oh, is that stubby fingers?
Stubby fingers.
I thought you were doing like
It's
lobster
not,
hands.
it is actually the height that makes it a midget.
Yeah,
It's the height that
it's
makes
the
you a
height.
midget.
Aye,
It's not the. Being,
that's
That's
dwarfism.
dwarfism.
That's a whole different kettle of fish.
So I'm not scared of midgets. I'm scared of dwarfs.
Yeah, aye,
Well, there you go. We're learning something new every day.
yeah.
Yeah, we're learning something new every day.
Aye, but I loved going to see bands and that. The first band I ever went to see was at Middlesbrough Town Hall, and it was the Soup Dragons, which, you know, it was a bit underwhelming, but the support...
Underwhelming. Amazing.
The
The
sup-
only band I ever saw at Middlesbrough Town Hall were Wheatus.
Really?
So yeah, that was another one where you could just describe the whole gig as underwhelming.
But
as
no,
well.
but the support band was a band called Shack from Liverpool, and I absolutely loved them. It was amazing. So after that, I just went to see loads of bands and stuff. And I even drove me and my mates down to Blackpool in my Mini for the day tripper, which was riding the Charlatans, which was probably like the best gig that I've ever been to in my life. But still, the track I want to pick, which is probably, and I want to play it at my funeral, and I told everybody if it doesn't get played at my funeral, I'm going to come back and haunt every fucking
Well,
for
this is it's
eternity.
immortalised. This podcast, it's immortalised your
Aye.
request forever.
Yeah, that's it. So
Stone Roses, I Am the Resurrection.
sound. Well, let's play a little bit of Stone Roses, and then we'll talk about track number 2. So for the first part of the early influences, this is the Stone Roses, and the tune is called
I Am the Resurrection.
Knocking down my door and I can't sleep at night.
There's now like a little bit of the Stone Roses. I love a bit of the Stone Roses. I've been to the Stone Rose bar in York, which is all themed on the Stone Roses, and that's a class place.
But
to
that
be.
was Eye of the Resurrection. I'd rather be at Res.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, it does sort of like it points you back into a ravier way, isn't it? Just the name of that.
Indeed.
Indeed.
It's a very,
Well-
very long track.
Yeah, good. We don't mind the long track, do we?
I love a long one.
We played along with that. He loves a long one. That's what she said. In any case, let's move on to the second part of the wild card.
Fucking
A little,
rave horns over there.
a little
I'm not allowed to have the rave horn anymore.
a little
Nice.
segue into it though, because obviously the bands I was going to see, I actually got into a bit of hip hop and stuff as well. So I went to see House of Pain, and and then I got a chance to go to Germany to an anti-Nazi camp, it was anti-fascist camp.
Right.
It was in Nuremberg for a week. It was great, and this is where I saw this act, and they just changed everything for us, and this scene has been really kind of the name of them, they're Fundamental, and they were Asian hip hop band, and they were just absolutely amazing, and I hadn't seen anything like it, and they were seen as a bit extremist and that, but you just have to drill down and understand where they're coming from, and in the lyrics and stuff. So
Yeah. What sort of age were you when you were at this camp?
I was 17, yeah, and we got a bus there, and the bus broke down in Belgium, and they picked up 13 lads from Glasgow first before they came to Newcastle, and then there was loads of us from Newcastle, and then by the time we broke down in Belgium, there was vomit all over the bus and everything.
Sounds like trouble to me.
It was, and the whole.
Sounds like nothing but trouble.
And the whole camp. Oh, I might have been a bit old actually. I might be 18, 19.
They just drive through Calais as well with all the cheap booze and stuff. That wouldn't help.
Aye.
Well, there you go.
Well, it was that whole route. We had to pick people up in Sheffield and everything, and then kind of go up, and then it took 33 hours to get there. And
Holy shit! 33 hours on a bus.
And then we were
Damn.
we were all camping in tents for a week, and then and trying not to get our heads kicked in Nuremberg by all these fash and stuff. But when you're with loads of Glaswegians, nothing's going to happen to you.
There's some lovely people from Glasgow, man.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
I do love
But
it.
anyway, Fundamentals, and the track I've chosen is President Propaganda, because it's mint.
Sound. I
No
see no
better
better.
reason.
No, there is no
Beat
better
you to it,
reason.
Jinx.
Right, okay, I've been beaten to it. So, Addy, you can introduce it.
I don't know what the fuck it is.
Well, that's it.
No idea.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Because I'm professional. This is fundamental. Something about something.
Presidential propaganda.
Europe is getting together again as they did at the turn of the century, but they got together to carve up Africa. That's right. They're getting together again, and the third world again is the clock. material people. You are such a foolish material people. You are such a foolish material people.
Exploitation and degradation was the white man's masturbation. Manipulation, colonization was the white man's masturbation. Exploitation and degradation was the white man's masturbation. Manipulation, colonization was the white man's masturbation. Look out now, watch out now, we're coming at you. Watch out now, we're coming at you. Watch out now, we're coming at you. Stop the white propaganda. Watch out now, we're coming at you. Watch out now, we're coming at you. Watch out now, we're coming at you. Smash the white propaganda.
Way, that was the Fundamentals with Presidential Propaganda, and that was the Second Early Influences tune. And before we crack into the first rave memories, we're going to do a first on the podcast.
We are.
We're all going to do a synchronised fortune cookie opening.
Yes.
So, let's open my fortune cookies here.
Ready? I can't even get mine open.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm right there.
Right, here we go. Let's find out what the fortune is. How many of them will be repeats?
Take advantage of an up-and-coming opportunity.
Ooh. You will be successful in your career.
You've had that this morning.
That's about Gene Pollard.
This is what
Your troubles will cease, and fortune will smile upon you.
Means you get your voice back.
And what did yours say, T?
The current year will bring you much happiness.
You haven't got long.
No, you've got 2 months of happiness then, mate. The last 2 months of this year, because we're already well through October now, aren't we?
Fucking right.
Yeah, this year's just flew by, hasn't it?
Hasn't it just?
Yeah, it has. It's just disappeared. Speaking about disappearing, let's segue straight into section 3 and talk about some first rave memories. So, do you remember like the very first rave that you went to?
Aye.
Yeah? Where was it? What did you do? How mashed were you?
It was the Blue Monkey in Sunderland, the original one.
The original monkey.
Aye.
I reckon with that accent that you probably would have been a monkey store, yeah?
Wait, it was kind of... There was the monkey... I was like 17, but I looked 12, and there's actually proof on the internet, because you know how everyone's glad that you didn't have mobile phones back in the day?
Yeah.
My friend took a disposable fucking camera out every time we went out.
Oh.
So there's all these pictures, and then she uploaded them to this Blue Monkey Facebook page, and now they're on there for eternity, and the Evening Chronicle got hold of them. And there's one of me, right, it wasn't even at the Monkey, it was outside of the Eclipse, it was after the Monkey had closed, and I'm driving my Mini, and I'm like looking back, and I look like Harry Potter, and I actually look like, I look 12 years old, and I'm like, how the fuck did they let me in? But I remember...
It was the monkey.
No, it wasn't. It was. I got this ID. It cost us £1.50, right?
Quality, good stuff.
And I bought somebody's sister's birth certificate, and it said like I was a legitimate nurse at Hartlepool General Hospital, and had me photo on and everything. What? So the bouncers couldn't do shit. They had to let us in, even though I looked 12. So that's how I got into Blue Monkey, with like the most impeccable fake ID ever.
Yeah, you could have just totally faked it as a nurse as well.
I know.
Wasn't there something in the news about a woman in Florida getting arrested for this recently? Fucking hell.
I don't know.
Wait, disclaimer though, I never did that. It was only for the benefit of getting into nightclubs.
Only
so
for rave benefit.
Rave benefits.
Well, as long as you benefited from the rave and the rave benefited in some way.
But because I lived in Peterlee, it was like easier to get to Sunderland, and like I missed the days of the Havana and all that, because I didn't have fake ID then, and I looked way too young.
Right.
And like I couldn't even go drinking locally because everyone knows me stepdad, and I'd walk in a place and they'd be like, nah, you dial killers.
Yeah.
So and like I couldn't get in anywhere, so it used to like really boil me piss. So like I started taking acid and all that when I was like 15. So I used to do like obviously the under 18s discos and stuff like that with it, like just off my face and stuff. So it was really good to go to the Blue Monkey, and the first night I ever went, I went on acid because acid was my thing back then. Like everybody else goes, you did acid at the Monkey, but like everybody else was on like really expensive cowies and stuff.
Yeah.
But I
You
just
were on a cheap acid that lasted triple as much and
Yeah.
had triple the effect.
But I just loved the whole scene, and then going down to Webster's afterwards and stuff like that. And we did Chambers, so Chambers was also in Sunderland. And then there was this nightclub called Bentley's. But at 11 o'clock, they opened up the middle bit, which was Liberty's, and it was just all like hardcore rave, and it was just amazing. And it was like, that was the place to go to. So they were like my first rave memories, and it was just like, although I didn't have a job and I was at college, I somehow managed, because I was taking loads of acid, I wasn't really drinking.
Yeah.
So I was designated driver. Disclaimer, that was a long time ago. I hope I'll never get done for this. But, so I used to just earn my way out.
Yeah.
So it was mint.
Oh, sweet. Oh, that sounds mint. So what sort of music? It sounds like there was a bunch of different venues, probably a bunch of different music. What sort of artists like stand out from those first rave memories?
Wait, do you know what it is? And this is why this was really hard to pick one tune and stuff as well. Because I've probably seen some of the most amazing DJs and the most amazing artists, but I was at MASH, I can't even remember who they are. Because like, you know, after the Monkey and the Eclipse and everything, I also did the venue in Spennymoor, and I know that they had live acts and stuff on and like amazing DJs, but I can't remember who they are.
It's Glade-itis for me, that like. You go to the Glade and you can come away from the Glade knowing you've seen everyone who you wanted to see, and you come away and you'll go, oh, I don't remember.
I can't,
Like I just trough aids.
Trough.
Like, coming back with trough aids or
That Trough Aids was fucking an awful day.
mate, I brought trough aids back from that festival. You brought your life companion
Yeah, and Trough Aids.
and trough aids. He brought like 2 lots from the same festival.
But like I
That's so real.
had flies and that, but then, you know, in the days when you wanted them pasted to your bedroom wall, and then when we moved house, they were all like stuck on this bedroom wall, so I don't even have the original flyers or anything. So like to pick this track, like I just couldn't decide. I had 3 that I really wanted, and I thought they might have all been played, but apparently they haven't. So I was really struggling. But I think one rave that I do remember, but it was a bit later on, and it was down at the arena in Middlesbrough, and I know that Sandy Duff had a lot to do with this one as well. And I remember watching Carl Cox alternate SL2 and Utah Saints. It was like, what a mint night that was.
It's like a lineup of just
That sounds
piano.
like a raving wet dream.
It was proper. It
It's
was.
pianos, then pianos, then pianos, and then more fucking pianos. It sounds banging, that.
We
like.
just had this massive coach all the way from Peak Lane, and we went back to someone's house doing like hot knife and resin.
Hot knife and tack.
Just to, like, come down.
That sounds like Peter Lee life, that does, like, doesn't it?
Proper old school.
It's proper thug life.
Let's go now.
Let's go and enjoy it. So,
So I was going to pick Bizarre Inc., Play My Knives, because I did have that on 12-inch, right, until I got divorced, and he took the records for a bit, and when I got them back, it wasn't in there. So I was like, asshole. Yeah. But so I was going to pick that one, and then I was like, oh, but maybe it's a bit of hardcore uproar as well. But then I've gone actually for Awesome 3, Don't Go. And then we played it yesterday while I was getting my tattoo done. It was just like, yes, I'm sticking with it. I was going to change it, but now I'm going to stick with it.
no, you picked a belter. I love a bit of Awesome 3, and this tune is particularly banging as is. So for the first rave memories moment, I hope that some people really enjoyed that trip down rave memory lane.
Indeed.
Here is a bit of Awesome 3, and the track is called
Don't Go.
It's like a mule. It's like a mule.
gentlemen, there you have it. That was the Awesome 3 and Don't Go, and we have returned back to an Awesome 3.
Oh, what a tune.
Oh, yeah, it's a better tune. We've returned back to an Awesome 3. Tony had to go and see a guy about a dog or something like that, he said. Something to that effect in any case, but a nice little cameo by the landlord there.
It was.
Let's move on to section 4 of the podcast, which is the section that we call Festival Fever. Now, you're already laughing. Is it because you're reading from your notes of the story?
No,
you're gonna tell?
no, it's not the story. It's the actual tune I've picked, and because I'm going to get roasted probably.
Oh, there we go. Well, we'll leave the roasting to the comment section. So, do you like a bit of festival action? Have you been to many festivals?
I've been invited to more than I've been to. I love camping and stuff, but there's just something about festivals that I do like them, but I've got to be in the mood for it.
Right, yeah.
So I had so many opportunities to go to Glastonbury because obviously if you were a bairn, you could get in for free. And because I looked like a bairn, even when I was in my 20s, all my mates were like, right, we'll just take you down. But I just didn't want to go.
Right.
And I think it was always, because it always rained, and I just thought being in a tent, and what if I was like full of acid and with people that I didn't like, and then I'm stuck with them. It's like being on the ferry, you know.
Yeah, you're being stuck on the ferry on the way to Amsterdam.
With loads of people you don't want to be with, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I got invited to loads. I did go to a few festivals, but I got pregnant pretty early in my life, in my early 20s. So it was like the heyday of like Newcastle and the Tanners and everything, and everyone wanted to go to loads of festivals. So can you remember like there was the solar eclipse? I think it was 1999, and like everybody wanted to go down to Cornwall, and there was a lizard festival and that kind of thing. So I had this old Citroen BX, and it was like, right, you're driving, but I was 3 months pregnant, so like everybody else was like just off it, and like I was just like stuck driving and like taking people around, and then we couldn't find the festival, so we ended up on this beach with loads of travellers, which was like being at a festival anyway, and there was like sound systems, and it ended up pretty mint. And then also did the Exodus in Luton. So
right.
Yeah, and I went in 99, and it was the last year that it was on before the whole, was it the criminal justice bill or something, or they did something and it just stopped it from happening. I don't know the politics around it, but like just stuff like that. So it was like little stuff that I went to.
Yeah. Sometimes those little festivals are more of a party than a big one. I swear to God, I can hear the rasp in my voice already. Like, if you've passed me this trophies that you've got, like, you know I'm susceptible. He's sitting in the corner sucking strepsils. Like,
I'll leave you.
Like it was no one else's business. He's going to leave us one strepsil. That's going to help
Well,
us.
yeah, I'm feeling like I'm coming down with it. I'm like staving it off for the past week.
That's what you get for looking after him.
Sharon's caring.
What a bugger.
No, so I tended to like more like the day stuff. So I was down at the big Anti-Nazi League festival down in Brixton in London, and like stuff like that. So it was Manic Street Preachers before what's his face disappeared.
Richie.
Aye. So it was like seeing them then, and Levellers and Billy Bragg, like just,
Billy Bragg's amazing though.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Urban Species, and just like it was just things like that. I love stuff like that, so I saw that as a bit like a festival. But it wasn't until like early 2000s that I was like, right, I'm going to start going back to festivals and stuff like that. So the one that I've been to the most, and the one that I keep going back to, was Dance Valley in Amsterdam.
Right.
And obviously this is why I picked the track that I picked, because just going to Dance Valley, I mean, it got a bit mainstreamy, but like early days it was just amazing, and just to jump around in a field with loads of rad Dutch people and just people from all over actually, like and just seeing, I can't even remember half the names of half the DJs, but it was just amazing, just like watching thousands of people just jump up and down and like the same tune and that. And it kind of opened my eyes to a bit more music and made us like dance to a bit more music. But I'm going to get roasted for this one because I think it's more like trancey than out else. But
well, it's our read each other wrong.
It's your own story how you got there. It's wrong, but it's still a story.
You're just going to pick on us, aren't you? But one of my most pinnacle moments of Dance Valley, I think was the last one I went to, is, and it's the only time it ever rained. And I went over it, and I'd never ever go to, I'd never take anyone who wasn't really into rave and festivals ever again to Dance Valley, because like it spoiled my experience. And I ended up just pissing off and leaving my best mate because like she did my fucking head in, basically. Sorry for my language. But
We're going to swear on this podcast.
And it was raining so much, right? And they were selling these Heineken ponchos, and they were hooded ponchos, and they were like terry tiling on the inside, and like this big.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
It was,
Oh,
and then like
no.
it went down to the ground because I was like really short, and then I ended up on local Dutch TV. So they were like, we want to test out the waterproofness of this poncho. So they had us lying doing like angels in the mud, being squirted by a water pistol, and I was on local Dutch TV. It was just amazing. I never ever saw it, but they told us what station it was and everything, and it was just like, get in.
Local Dutch TV can be scary. We were sat watching it late night in Rotterdam. You remember after Prospect, and we had it on, and it was just scary Dutch telly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite intense. You never quite knew what the adverts were about because none of us could speak Dutch, and we were all wankered from Prospect. But yeah,
But
Dutch
yeah,
telly's scary as it is.
I probably scared
Very
a few
scary.
people. But I just remember the end of that dance valley, and I was just sat in the middle of the fields, and then my phone went off, and it was my mate going like, "Where are you? It's finished." And I was just on a sofa in the middle of a field with this, sat next to talking to this lass from Amsterdam. I was just like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm just like on this couch. Just I have no idea where I'm at," and like I had to try and find her, and then get back to Central Amsterdam. But I think that's probably like my favourite festival that I've ever been to be fair.
Yeah.
And it never disappoints. And like you can be in Central Amsterdam, I think it was at like the ATM at the bottom of like near Dam Square, and I just hear Niwe, Coops, and I turn around and it's my mate Harry, and it's just in the middle, like didn't even know they were there. So it's one of those festivals where you just bump into everybody.
Yeah. It's like going to Res and just bumping into someone every 30 seconds, isn't it? Yeah. That's one of the glorious things about rave. Like the rave never really grows up. It's always the same people going back for that nostalgia hit, so it's always the same crowd when you turn back up. Cool. So you're already smiling and cringing at your own tune selection.
I really do like it, and he's not bad. It's very constant, and he did like a most amazing set in 2004 at Dance Valley. By Rock Your Body Rock. Sweet.
It's alright. I went very close. I used to work at Rotterdam Records, Big Gamma Records, before he did trance.
He's pretty sound like.
Yeah. He's alright with IB.
Sweet. Well, let's play a little bit of Rock Your Body Rock.
Your body rock.
Well, there you go, a little bit of Festival Fever. That was Rock Your Body Rock by Ferry Corsten. And whether or not you thought it was cheesy, that's what Coops picked for our Festival Fever moment.
So if as well, you should do what I want.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's
Most
me,
me,
Fezzy, and I'll
Do
do
what I want.
Oh. Gosh, gee. Section 5, we'll stroll straight on, is the Shared Discovery section. And I've looked down and I've seen this name and it's put a smile on my face because it's a local lad. What is it about this act that made you decide to share it?
Wait, I've got so many amazingly talented musical mates, all from Newcastle, do you know what I mean? But I've decided to choose Louis Zico because he's just an outstanding individual. And since I was introduced to him, I came home one year and he started working behind the bar at Tanner's and everyone's like, oh, it's Louis. And it doesn't matter like how long I'm away, if like I turn up, he's always got a smile and he always like makes time for you. And last year when I was home, he was handing out some of his CDs and stuff. So I took one away and had a listen, and I was just like, yeah, I knew he was good anyway, and everyone had been raving on about him. And at the time, I was managing a youth shelter for homeless young people in Brisbane, and I did that for about 8 years. And I don't know if you know much about Aussie hip hop. Some of it's
I know it's all shit.
No, it's not all shit. Hilltop Hoods, I fucking love them. But like, there's some pretty shit stuff, and they're all listening to Cursor, and honestly, it just makes us want to stick pins in my eyes. So one day I schooled them on a bit of a British tip, and stuck Louis' CD in, and one of the lasses was just like, "This is amazing. How do I get hold of it?" So like, I knew he was on Spotify as well, so I was like telling the young people how to like kind of listen to Louis' music, and and I have actually seen him live as well. So he's just mint.
I mean, being an MC myself, I've been blessed to be on the stage with Louis loads of times, and he's always dead fun to pass the mic with because he's got a dead individual voice, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And it stands out really well. But B, he's a top quality rhymer as well. Like, and some of the stuff that he puts out, it's absolutely great. Obviously, we had Jody Bigfoot come on the podcast, who is his big buddy. There's another, there's a Bigfoot joke for you. But Jody Bigfoot came on. And he played some Trinity Lo-Fi, which is the band that are in together. But yeah, Zico's a good guy. And a talented lad.
Very talented. I think, like, he deserves more. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's just...
Well, that's the
they
whole
give
idea.
him better things, do you know what I mean? And
that's it. That's the whole idea of this section of the podcast. It's like, share someone who you think should get some more love. You don't really need to explain it more.
And you've got like listeners out in Russia and like all obscure parts of the planet. So yeah, they all need to listen to a bit of Louis.
So says Podbean.
Yeah. So says Podbean. Yeah, Podbean keeps telling us where we're getting reviewers from. And I mean, I'm looking at Louis' Spotify now, and I follow Louis. And I've listened to a lot of his bits and pieces that he's put out. So get the lad on your Spotify. Go to Spotify, search for Zico MC. Capital Z, capital MC, and you'll find him up there. And a few of his tunes are up there. And you've picked the one which it looks like has the most plays.
I was like toying between a couple of them, but I just thought, I really like Dancehall Style.
Yeah, it's a good tune, Dancehall Style. And again, it's one of the ones that you can find on Spotify. So get onto Spotify, have a look, find Louis Zico, and for your listening pleasures, right now, we're going to play out his tune, which is called Dancehall Style.
And wiggle and wild out. We came to vibe out, turn all the lights out. Hot sauce cartel, we came to shine. We came with dancehall style. We make you bounce and wiggle and wild out. We came to vibe out, turn all the lights out. Hot sauce cartel, we came to shine. We came with bad gal and bad boys, and they come to dance, so we make the noise and we tighten it. But with open arms, and we in the dance and we staying calm. Don't the place get rowdy. All of my people around me, lock off the rave and shut down the foundry. Yeah, we got the plan. Turn off the dance and bust off the sound of my D. It's what we do. With the hot sauce crew, my D, bring NRT to the PRT and lick it off nice, get the place for me, car. It's It's what we do, my G, Bring the hot sauce crew, my G. Bring NRG to the PRT and lick it off nice, get the place for me, come. Dance all style, we make you bounce and wiggle and wild out. We came to vibe out, turn all the lights out. Hot sauce cartel, we came to shine. We came with dance all style, we make you bounce and wiggle and wild out. We came to vibe out, turn all the lights out. Hot sauce cartel, we came to shine. We came with big tunes and a big system. It sounds so fat, them half you listen. We pirates with raw material. Lick that shot, this song's a serial killer. That sound get iller. Mash up a dance with a sound that's thriller. Lyric them a fly and none of them a fill it up a vibe. We spill, we a big vibe spiller. Oh skiller, vibe get love all around the world. From Tung to Manila. We smoke it so hot in the chiller. If your ego get too hot, we chiller. It's what we do, my G, We the hot sauce crew, my G. Bring NRG to the PRT and lick it off nice with the place for me. Dance all style, we make you bounce and wiggle and wild out. We came to vibe out, turn all the lights out. Hot sauce cartel, we came to shine. We came with dance all style, we make you bounce and wiggle and wild out. We came to vibe out, turn all the lights out. Hot sauce cartel, we came to shine. We came with bounce and wiggle and wild out. Bounce and wiggle and wild out. Sit now, bounce and wiggle and wild out. Yeah, bounce and wiggle and wild out. Yeah, bounce and wiggle and wild out. Bounce and wiggle and wiggle and.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you're tuned in to the most difficult to understand segment on the whole of the
It's
internet.
really not that fucking hard, like.
You are tuned in to
Addy versus Gav. Addy versus Gav.
doesn't lack enthusiasm, just lacks the will. Yeah, welcome back to Addy versus Gav. While Addy slowly dies in the corner, I'll explain what's going to go on here. So, you've heard it before. What we're doing is we're going to do another little musical battle. Last time out, the winner was yet again Addy, which
Seven time Addy versus Gav, champion of the world.
Yeah,
that's heard a lot.
Yeah. So what you're going to get is you're going to get a little bit of rambunctious capital J played out for you. A nice little bit of anti-up played for you as he's won this time. And we're going to stroll into this topic and get going so I don't catch whatever trophies Addy's got.
I've got it all.
He's got it all. Yeah. He's already whited in his mouth once. He's, it's that sort of evening that we've got going on.
It's pure tacos and rum.
It is pure tacos and rum. That's exactly what's just caused that little burp bubble. So we've looked at the suggestions that were out there and we've come up and we're going to go with the one which is the best ravey remake of an 80s tune. And Addy has pulled out an absolute classic. Addy, what are you going for?
I'm coming to fucking fire it out the gates. It's already been on the show once, but it's my go-to 80s rave-based fucking track. And it's DJ Magical and Rush Hour.
Oh, what a tune. What an absolutely fucking belting tune. Well, I'm going for something a little bit different. I'm going to go for a version of Boards of Canada, known commonly as Hell Interface, and their remake of Midnight Star song called The Midas Touch. It's an absolute beauty. You will find the link, as always, on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/ontherave. Yeah, the enthusiasm.
See, I think he should have gone for something a bit more Taylor Daney because he's starting to sound like him a bit. So
by the end of the podcast, he's going to sound like Louis Armstrong's fucking arse raped Alba Rossi. You know what I mean? That's how far it's going.
I'll get me a second wind.
He'll catch a second wind, but it won't be rum based.
It'll be delicious. So.
Yeah. Sound. Well, here's a little bit of Capital J. Thank you for tuning in to Addy versus Gavin. You're regular viewing. We'll be returning shortly.
What
The On The Rave podcast is available absolutely everywhere to download, and you can get in touch with us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/On The Rave. You can find us on Twitter @On The Rave. You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/On The Rave. We are on Instagram.
That's my favourite one then.
Where you can find us On The Rave with Addy and Gav, where you can see pictures of what Addy's been doing during the week.
Shenanigans.
We are powered by Podbean
And fueled by Basement Snacks.
Don't forget that you can go into Ridley Place, wander down that spiral staircase and scream at Dom's
On The Rave!
and she will give you 10% off all of your cookies and snacks. Oh, it's good.
Goodness.
Oh, it's good. It is that time once again on the On The Rave part. Oh my lord. Right.
Gargling was not the best idea.
No, like, for all of those in the house listening, that was Addy's attempt at gargling to clear his throat so he could
Gargling was not a great idea.
so he could accurately set the scene. But what he's actually done is he spat water all over an extension cable, which he's left his phone plugged into.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, that's staying in. I'm definitely not cutting out because it's fucking
no,
hilarious.
that's
But
it.
this is the moment of the show where I ask my competitor to my left to set the scene.
So, you're walking down Ramsey Street. Walking down Ramsey Street. Mrs. Mangle's out there. She's disapproving of the rave that's going on Ramsey Street. Bouncing the dogs, fucking having it large in his ball. Kylie and Chase are necking it out on the stairway.
What's Afro Harold doing?
Afro Harold's just fucking being the utter cunt that he is. Fucking Helen Daniels in a fucking pair of hot pants on the fucking thing, and Toadfish is playing the most wicked tune you've ever heard in your life. What's that tune? And did he make you put your hands in the air, or you screw facing down?
Oh, it's got to be a hands in the air moment, and honestly, there could have been
Hands up for Tony!
there could have been a few, because obviously I've seen some blinders,
Helen Daniels has had some hands up her.
Yeah.
but I'm actually going to go for a Daft Punk at the Mayfair back in 1997. I think it was October 97,
Right.
and
Back at the old Mayfair.
back in the old Mayfair, and it was a blinder, and I just love Daft Punk anyway, and it would be
Is this Daft Punk pre-helmets?
yeah.
Yeah, so this is just when they were two French knob twiddlers.
Yeah.
Before they were like the helmet gimmick stuff.
Well, it was I think it was from the I can't remember now. Honestly, the track's burning, so it was like early days of Daft Punk.
Right, sound. Well,
That's
let's keep
But
that one.
that will absolutely just
Right, sweet.
Everyone just went mental.
There you go. So what we'll do, we'll play this tune for you. Here is a little bit of Daft Punk, and the tune is called
Burning.
Burning. Well, you better let us all know in the comments down below whether or not that Daft Punk song
Did that make you spit water all over yourself and extensions?
Yeah. Or did it make you fling your arms in the air or pull a screw face? Leave an answer in the comments and we might even read some out. Oh, speaking about reading things out, have you read the latest Dave the Rave?
I haven't.
You haven't read the latest from Dave the
I've
Rave?
hit us with this.
Right, okay. Bear with us for a moment and we'll get the latest from Dave the Rave. Yes, on the Rave crew. Love my hardcore, hardstyle, old school rave. We love you, Dave. Keep commenting. We will keep reading them out. Especially if you've got any stories about the monkey.
Aye, because I probably raved with him at some point.
Everyone's raved with Dave.
But
Everyone's
well
had
back
a
in
rave
the
with
day.
Dave. Sweet. Brilliant. Well, I'll tell you what, let's toddle into section 7 of the podcast. And section 7 is the dedication section. So, is there anyone out there that you'd like to play a tune for? Who is that person and what is the tune? Person or persons?
It's persons.
Persons.
Mainly one person. So it's actually, his name's James Deans. So where the surname comes from. And he was my son's father. And he was like really big back in the day, went all the Blackburn raves and stuff like that. I think when... I remember when Bez from Happy Mondays came up to Newcastle and was DJing at Rockshots, him and my mate Kev kidnapped him and took him to some party in the West End and stuff like that. So he kind of goes way back. And I met him when he was introduced to us by another friend, and he just got out of rehab because, you know, Blackpool, Blackburn, there was a lot of gear at the time.
Yeah.
A lot of people got in, like, you know, it went from being like on the rave and having fun to more serious shit, and then you can't get out of it. So I met him off the back of that in recovery. And I also got to meet this other lad as well, who's from Hull, who was in rehab with, called Paul. Paul lost his battle with heroin first, and it wasn't heroin that took him, he just couldn't cope with it, so he actually hung himself. So it all kind of deteriorated from there, and I think James never got over that as well. It was my son was like 8 months old at the time, and like I kind of saw the signs, and I had a feeling he was back on the gear. So it was a hard decision, and I left. And then the day after, I found him dead from a heroin overdose. So, really sad story. That was 19 years ago this month,
Right.
on the 24th of October. So it's a really difficult month for us normally. But this tune was played at both of their funerals, and it was kind of, it's like one of those pinnacle tunes, and it's an uplifting tune, and it's a beautiful tune, and I really love it. So it's Joe Smooth, Promised Land, and I know
Lovely.
it's one of those that touches everybody, no matter what, so it kind of lightens the tone. Like, I know I've made it really sound really depressing, but I listen to this tune a lot, and it just makes us think of better times, really, and like, you know, onwards and upwards. So Joe Smooth, Promised Land.
Oh
you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the dedication being played out. That was Joe Smooth and Promised Land. And let's not dwell on that, and we'll shift straight into the bone of contention. That is
Guilty pleasures.
So, Coops, where do you lie on guilty
I
pleasures?
don't feel guilty about the music I listen to.
Unashamed convict.
Unashamed.
Wait, I'm shamed by everybody by some of the stuff that I pick, and you pick on us all the time from my plank tracks. Do you know what I mean?
Adi picks on everyone.
Because they're
for music.
terrible.
No, but like you don't have to plank with them.
Because
like,
I'm
listen
always
to them.
right about everything.
So,
Everyone needs to realise
For people
this.
who don't realise,
Especially
I've been
about that
planking
first.
with this dafty for like 4 months or something.
Calls a twat if you want.
Twat. Yeah, and you call me a dick. What does my new tattoo say?
Says Coops is a dick.
No,
In
it
what?
doesn't. It doesn't really. No, it's a beautiful artwork of Jez Dyson.
Yeah,
But
Jez is a good guy.
Jez is amazing.
Jez will
Just
eventually...
clarified for me that it actually says Coops is a dick.
It was just to satisfy him, really.
Just to satisfy Jez or to satisfy
No,
him? Yeah.
No, just to make him feel better because he was sat there for 4 hours while I got it done. So.
That took Jez 4 hours. Yeah, Dyson, you're slipping, lad.
No, honestly, I think it was more because I was like, I like shouted out a few times because it really, really fucking hurt.
It's dead hard to embarrass someone using visual aids when you're doing an audio podcast. But perfect progression of Jez Dyson and tattoos is my microphone, which I just revealed and made Coops laugh because it looks like a giant grey lollipop. Me and Jez sat up all night before we went off for a date, got wrecked on Cowies and tattooed my back. And then years and years later, after he got good, he did this absolutely amazing tribute piece to David Bowie on my leg. And I like to think that I show the progression of that man's tattooing, and he said recently that he will go back and he will fix the giant grey microphone-shaped lollipop that is on my back.
I've been admiring his work for a while, like, and I had to have some, so
Yeah.
I just got in touch and was like, book us in when I'm home.
That's it. I've just done like a Buster 60-odd week hour at work, and with that money, I'm going to go down to the parlour, and I think I'm going to sit down with the lovely Kurt, because I really dig the skulls. I think they're really good.
I met Kirk the day I landed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in a mate's house, and it was like, after I'd been given the God code.
Brenda wasn't there.
Brenda
No,
wasn't
Brenda
there.
was at work.
Oh, she was off being a lobster somewhere, probably.
Lovely lobster.
Off being a popular lobster and making delicious vegan food.
Yes.
So back to guilty pleasures
Yep.
then. So none of the music you listen to make you feel guilty?
I don't really feel guilty about it.
Do you just own it?
Men at work.
What?
Men
Men at work?
Go live
I
in
don't
down
listen
under.
to Men at Work.
And he just smiled and made me a Vegemite sandwich.
And also Vegemite, absolute dog shit.
Right.
I like Vegemite.
No,
It's not as good as Marmite.
No, I didn't say it was as good
I
as
like
Marmite,
Hilltop
but-
Hoods, and that's about as much Australian music as I listen to. But no, I don't
Isn't there
really.
lots of psytrance there?
Yes, I've been to a few bush stuffs. I have to,
To be fair,
hold
the
my
big-
hand
the
up,
big
right?
brilliant-
Have you been to Rainbow Serpent?
That's the one right down there in Victoria. No,
It is,
I
yeah, the one at
haven't.
the
No,
bottom.
I've been in some really dodgy Queensland ones, and when you do a bit of liquid acid, and then you feel like you're in an extra in Beyond the Thunderdome. It's like proper freaked us out a few times, and like it's all right when you're on acid here and you go for a piss in the bush. Nothing's going to kill you.
Yeah.
But when you're on acid and you're in Queensland, in Australia, and then anything that could bite your ass,
King
you're
brain.
dead. Yeah.
Right. It could be
So-
a king brain.
Yeah.
I love a bit of me Steve Irwin, to be fair. He
Yeah.
was like, yeah.
Oh, proper legend.
Oh yeah, absolutely love it. I like, I'd like to go one day, but unfortunately my better half is absolutely petrified of spiders and will not enter Australia for love, no money, no any. For like, you could offer her absolutely anything, and she'd just be like, Ina. She'd be like, nah.
She'll definitely say Ina.
She'll definitely say Ina.
You'd probably be more scared of the bogans than the spiders, like.
What the fuck is a bogan?
It's their version of Chalmers.
Oh, just slimy beach
No,
bum.
but the worst. No,
bogan.
not like even beach bums.
Baggins, mate.
Proper baggins.
Proper baggins.
Yeah.
Get in. So what sort of music do you consider your guilty pleasures? And what would you be embarrassed to know? That what would you think the music that you listen to that other people would be embarrassed?
I think people would laugh at us for when I say it. But when I moved to Australia, obviously I've got 3 sons, and they were kind of finding their feet with their own music and that, and because I heard how bad some of the Australian hip hop and rap was, I was like, I cannot allow this for my children.
Yeah.
So I was like trying to make them embrace like the British rap scene and hip hop scene and stuff like that.
So who are you showing them?
Like I love a bit of Dizzy Rascal.
Right.
So, in this tune, the one that I've picked, right, we do this amazing, you know, like car park karaoke. The 4 of us in the car doing this is amazing. And like, yeah, and we like at traffic lights and people's like staring at us and the car's bouncing.
Because you're all doing Dizzy Rascal.
Aye.
I think you're teaching the wrong lessons by the way of telling people that Dizzy Rascal is good British hip hop.
No, but you know,
What happened to Task Force and Brain Text?
No, but like, just
Skinny Man and Roots Maneuver?
Yeah, there's all that, but like, as far as like my kids were going, what they would listen to.
Syndicate.
No, there's been loads of them.
Loads of them.
There's loads, right, but you've got to think, my kids were only little at the time, and one of them was in the N-Dubs and stuff, do you know what I mean, before he left the UK. So I was just like, I'm going to ease them in gently.
With a bit of Dizzy Rascal.
Yeah. Oh, stop it, see? Now, like, that's just a bit of roasting, but I like it, and the track I've chosen is Bassline Junkie, and it's just, I really love this track so much.
Well,
and I'm not ashamed of it at all.
Well, there you go. You hold your head
I
up
will
high,
hold my head up
and
high.
you hold it high for the whole of this track, while everyone else has to sit through the horror that is Dizzy Rascal.
He's just a Rascal.
Dizzy Rascal. And this is...
Listening to my kids do it though is amazing.
Well, there you go. Maybe if you're all really, really nice, you might not post a video of our kids doing it in the car. But you never know. It could be worse. You could be Moby the sperm whale.
Could be.
You could, because that poor sperm whale.
This sperm whale actually died because of Dizzy Rascal's album got stuck in its throat.
Is that what the plastic was?
And fucking lodged itself on the
Did you get that confirmed by one of the guys who was speaking to at Area 51?
Yes.
Yeah, amazing. That guy's tinfoil hat was fucking epic.
Lush.
Like, it had like 3 horns coming from it. One of them had an eye. He obviously made a he rinsed loads of Baco. Either way, here is a bit of Dizzy Rascal for the Guilty Pleasures moment, and the song is called
Bassline Junkie.
Turn the bass up. Turn the bass up. Yeah. Big, dirty, stinking bass. Dirty, stinking bass. Big, dirty, stinking bass. Dirty, stinking big. Dirty, stinking bass. Dirty, stinking bass. Big, dirty, stinking bass. Bass. I don't need no speed. No. I don't need no heroin. No, thanks. I don't want no coke. Today. You can keep your ketamine. Yeah. I'm a bassline junkie. I'm a bassline junkie. Tell him again. I'm a bassline junkie. Tell him again. And I like it funky. Yeah. What the fuck? What you doing? Don't touch it. Who told you to touch it? I will fucking kill you. Don't ever touch that fucking shit again. I'm a fiend for a big dirty bassline. When I hear one, I have a great time. A bit of butterman's all I require. I let the bassline take me higher. My friends think that it's a bad habit, but I'm just like, fuck you, damn it. If you take my bass away, I'll blow your fucking face away. You might think I'm over the top, but when I hear that bassline drop, I just can't control my actions, but I still feel satisfaction. So don't come around here whinging. I just wanna hear the bassline rinsing, and we could just skank out all day. If not, get the fuck out my way. I don't need no speed. I don't need no heroin. I don't want no coke. You can keep your ketamine. I'm a bassline junkie. I'm a bassline junkie. I'm a bassline junkie. And I like it funky. Big, dirty, stinking bass. Dirty, stinking bass. Big, dirty, stinking bass. Dirty, stinking big. Dirty, stinking bass. Dirty, stinking bass. Big, dirty, stinking bass. Bass. The other day I got a Nasbo order, and I think it's well out of order. All my neighbours throwing a fit, so I told them suck my dick. Then I told them I got the power, and I turned the music up louder. All night till 6 in the morning. Old bastards, they're just boring. You know me, I'm the bassline father. Nobody can't tell me nada. Then the police turned up and they took me. We drove down to the lick and they put me. But they said they'd give me a caution if I didn't give them no distortion. But I said don't bother, I'm guilty, and my bassline's fucking filthy. I don't need no speed. I don't need no heroin. I don't want no coke. You can keep your ketamine. I'm a bassline junkie. I'm a bassline junkie. I'm a bassline junkie. And I like it funky. Big, dirty, stinking bass. Dirty, stinking bass. Big, dirty, stinking bass. Dirty, stinking big. Dirty, stinking bass. Dirty, stinking bass. Big, dirty, stinking bass. Bass. Big, dirty, stinking bass. Dirty, stinking bass. Big, dirty, stinking bass. Dirty, stinking big. Dirty, stinking bass. Dirty, stinking
Well, there you have it.
It's just a rascal.
That was
Here's another one.
That's
Alright.
sweet.
Yes, there's so many I could have choose from, but this was because it was to do with me bells.
Do you know where it is? Like, to a point, I didn't really have much hatred at all for Dizzy Rascal.
I do like I Love You by Duffy's first album. That was bad track.
I think the biggest
Even
problem
better
now is
than Pyro.
it's on the Spotify playlist that they play at work, and then
It's also on that fucking terrible betting advert. You see the betting advert with Dizzy Rascals on?
no,
I think it's Ladbrokes. He's on one of them.
yeah, I can't be doing with like I haven't got TV plugged in because adverts make us mad as
do
is.
you know who I really do like though? I like a bit of Plan B, like his early stuff. But that's more me. My kids kind of didn't.
Your kids didn't go for him.
No.
No, to be fair, I thought he was quite trash.
What?
Like,
So moving
I
on.
like
Yeah,
Sick to Death. It's one of my favourite.
yeah. Before we lose half of our fan base because I say Plan B shit.
Early days.
Early days, the early days. They could say that about everyone apart from fucking Bowie. His early days were rough. You had some rough Australian-inspired mullets already. In any case, let's start talking about goats. Goat, the greatest of all time.
Oh, there was something about goats on the wall in the golf place last night. What was
Oh,
that?
there was, yeah.
You'll have to remember what it was and let us know.
Yeah.
This is the place I've just started
It's
working.
in the toilet.
Yeah, I've started working in the kitchen at a
It
golf
wasn't in
place.
the toilet.
It was.
Oh, in the toilet hole.
Yeah.
The one that you were sat on.
Yeah.
The toilet hole.
Yeah, the golf.
We got a
hole or
hilarious
something.
said. Fucking.
That was it. Non-goat sex for gender fluid rhinos.
Oh wow, is that one of the ones that they've just randomly written on the wall? Non-goat sex for gender fluid rhinos. Amazing. Yeah, I've just started working in a place called Ghetto Golf. Well, I actually work in the kitchen at Apocalypse Cow with good troller of the podcast, Tony T, who we may eventually get on the podcast.
If he stops being a fatty.
Well, it's just if he stops picking 10 Morecambe songs for his entire list. You know, like, we'll see what happens. But let's talk about goats. So, was it a tough decision? Have you got many musical goats?
I don't think it was a tough decision. I kind of knew it straight away.
As soon as it was coming up.
Aye.
It's like me with Bowie. Like, it was much more difficult redoing it and picking someone else when it
Yeah.
wasn't just Bowie instantly like that.
And I could have gone way back and I could have picked someone, but there was something about the Chemical Brothers, and it's the stuff that
Sorry, I am fucking ill.
it's their collaborations and everything. And when I was, it's funny because I'm in the Biker Wall and it kind of comes full circle. So when I was living in the Biker Wall and having a really tough time, and I didn't really have much money, so I didn't have any carpets or anything. And I was and it's how I got into youth work, and that was painting murals. So I painted loads of murals on my flat wall in the Biker Wall.
Right.
And Exoplanet Dust was like in my head. So, and this is where Planet Cooper came from. So that's
Exoplanet Cooper.
and that was painted on my door on the way out of my flat. So me downstairs in my flat was my living room and my bedroom, and then the kitchen was upstairs, and you kind of went out to Exit Planet Cooper.
Yeah, that's the same way that my pet gay Nathan's flat was the same way. Like, you had the upstairs, which had the like come on, don't laugh at it. It's not that funny. I've got a pet gay. I take him out for the occasional mince, and he has a good time, and everything's cush. Like, so, I love that man very dearly.
He loves a bit of bingo.
And he does absolutely love a bit of bingo. He doesn't listen to the podcast, so we can call him anything we want. But you know,
I don't want to call him lovely things because he's a lovely man.
Well, there you go.
But there's just something about the Chemical Brothers, and they're just timeless, and it's just like they keep on going and just keep producing, and just amazing.
I bought this really random old record off of a guy. I bought a bunch of records off of this guy on eBay, and one of them came, and it was like a really early Chemical Brothers song with a massive mouth organ loop at the start of it, and there was this amazing record, but it went missing at a house party, and I've totally forgot the name of the song. I can't find it anywhere. I think someone told me it was the Chemical Brothers, but I thought it was the Dust Brothers or something like that.
Wait, they were
just be called
the Dust Brothers, and then that Exoplanet Dust. That's where that came from.
And they had to change their name because there was another act in America.
American act. Aye. So that's where it all came from.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking shit this
No,
time.
you're not talking shit.
Hey, there we go. I've seen them before. I saw the Chemical Brothers at Glastonbury on the other stage, and I believe it was the same night I saw Röyksopp, and they had like just the other stage that it just had this amazing light show. And that Saturday night was spent like sat on a seat boxed on acid, watching the light show and being like,
Well, even
this is amazing.
Even the one that's just gone, I wasn't there, but I've seen the video. The Hey Boy, Hey Girl, and just
I fucking love that tune.
standing. But the light
Shag
show, the
and Skeletons.
visuals,
It's the Shag and Skeletons.
it was just
That's what always
amazing.
gets me.
But yeah, why I've picked the track that I've picked was the collaboration with Beth Orton, because just an amazing artist with an amazing voice. And
Remind me who Beth Orton is? My brain just farted.
I don't know much about her. She's just got an amazing voice, and she did a
Alright.
collaboration with Chemical Brothers.
Alright, okay.
And I think she's more like acousticy. Do you know what I mean?
She is. She just did a very like early 90s acoustic thing. She was very cool for a while.
But an amazing voice. Like, you know how you have these female artists that come through and they'll be around for a bit and then they disappear, but you'll hear a track and it's just like melts your ears because it's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, I was still knocking about in Pete Lee at the time, and I was commissioned to do a mural on this council flat wall across 2 walls, so I did the creation of Adam, because I'm a kind of good muralist, like when I put my hand to it, and so we'd go out on the rave and then kind of come back and I'd be painting this fucking mural. And I only got half finished before they got evicted from the flat, but he had speakers set up in every room in this flat, so I was like having a bit of a bad do on a Cowie one night, and I was in the toilet and then this track came on and just like, it just blew my mind.
Sorted your crack out.
Proper sorted us out, aye. So it's, where do I begin?
Sweet. Well, I'll tell you what the best place to begin is. It's probably press and play on this track. So I hope everyone enjoys a little bit of Chemical Brothers. We've played Chemical Brothers before, but not this track. So here is, for the GOAT moment, Where Do I Begin? Well, that's a little bit of Chemical Brothers. We like a bit of Chemical Brothers. Well, I like a bit of Chemical Brothers. Do you mind Chemical Brothers?
I quite like some Chemical
Yeah,
Brothers.
I like a bit of
Their
Chemical Brothers.
electronical power weapon stuff is just outstanding.
Yeah, they just do such a wide range of shit, like, so, and shit meaning stuff, not shit meaning as in shit
Like
meaning.
Barbie and Bad, but Barbie and good.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly like that, mate. You've nailed it. Well, we've come to the end of another one of these podcasts. We've actually managed to get a whole interview done, Addy.
I know, I'm surprised with his voice. It's dipping.
Yeah, it is. Over the course of the podcast, you're becoming more and more understandable.
But during the podcast, it's getting more and more herdy.
Yeah, well, that's it. He's in pain. He's turning away the rum now. At least you don't sound as much like the Tasmanian devil now.
No.
Because at the start it was a bit...
It took a while to get there, yeah.
Yeah, that's alright. We're nearly there. We're up to section 10, which is personal anthems. So, was this a hard one to pick, Coops? Or
It was actually.
was there just loads of different candidates?
There was a couple and I just was thinking about, because I've had, obviously I really don't like.
Is it cold chisel, cheap wine?
Sure.
Let's go with a couple of ones that got close but didn't make the cut.
Well, I just put,
Jason Donovan and Kylie.
Especially for you. And anyone who's not in on the neighbours jokes and doesn't know me, although I've actually got a cat.
Craig McLaughlin.
Who's the other one?
Oh, Lola.
Oh, yeah, ooh, Lola. Yeah, God damn it, they're horrendous, aren't they?
Yes.
Who was the other one? There was another one.
Stephen Dennis.
Stephen Dennis.
Gonna make you feel good.
Is it not Holly Valance?
Oh, yeah.
Holly Valance, and then there was
But she was also in, what was the terrible film?
Dead or Alive?
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Terrible film.
It was a terrible film. It was nothing like the video game.
No.
No, not at all.
So, apart from these...
No, I was
Australian
I kind of, like my personal anthems have like kind of like, it's come from being in Australia, because obviously I don't want to be there, but I'm not going to bore you with a complicated story of why I've been stuck there for such a long time. But I will be home within 2 years, so that's the plan. So there's just been like a couple of tracks that's kind of got me out of like feeling really low. And
Out of
really,
your funk.
Aye.
Out of the funk down under. Sorry, absolutely couldn't help myself there. Like,
No, like some really depressive moments, and like what does get us out of stuff is
Johnny Swagman.
What?
What's a Johnny Swagman played by a Billabong? That's Australian anthem, isn't it?
I haven't got a fucking clue, mate. I've never been.
No.
Like
no.
The biggest Australian anthem I've ever heard is probably fucking Men at Work. Is that not an Australian? Is that actually an anthem down there? Do they hate it?
I have no idea, because I don't really kind of.
Do you not go out? Do you not intermingle?
I try not to.
You try not to.
Like
Why?
I do, but like I'll go to venues that are playing banging music rather than like.
Well, you got to go and talk to people.
Yeah, like I just.
You was right. Dance by a Billabong.
It's nearly as bad as playing Rolf Harris, Tying Me Kangaroo Down on our pedo plank.
There you go. Did you do a pedo plank?
We did two. We did two.
Waltz in Matilda.
Yeah, we did two pedo planks.
You did two pedo
Aye.
planks? Fucking
It
hell.
was genius. It was
What
absolute
age?
genius.
She picked Bowie though.
Oh, it's alright. I once wrote an essay confirming and denying the fact that David Bowie was a paedophile. I'll show you it if you're interested. It's not that interesting.
But my mum was into Bowie, so yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm
Yeah.
still into Bowie. I would, and he's dead. Wouldn't stop us. But in any case, so let's get on to the real victims of the
yeah,
personal anthem.
it was between two, and they're all linked to like one thing that gets me out of like being really low and being really depressed is fitness.
Right.
And I've been a runner since I was 10-year-old. Do you know what I mean? On and off. But more recently, I've kind of got into planking and gym and stuff like that. So I like tunes that are going to make us feel a bit good. So this one, I was actually
Gonna
like,
make you feel good. Stephen Dennis.
oh my God!
He's kind of going full circle. He's not going to let you get away with this. Like, if you keep setting them up, you'll keep batting them away.
I'm trying not to.
Well, that's it. You've got
Right.
to learn how to not set the little shit up. That's the
really,
thing.
really hard.
He's a 6 foot shit. He is like.
Yeah,
you
even
know,
when he's sick.
The only shit that's bigger than him is Bono, and that's only because Bono is an inch taller than him. Like, and it's only the hat, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the hat and the sunglasses. He'd be more famous, you know. He's famous in France, apparently.
Yeah.
He is. I've been reliably informed.
Don't talk about the French.
Have you got a problem with the French?
Ex-husband.
Oh, is he French?
Moving on.
Yeah.
Moving on. Right, so my personal anthem, it was a Chasing Status track or I've gone Maximo Park.
Well, Maximo Park, love you, Lucas.
I'm going Maximo Park, but the Mark Ronson version of Apply Some Pressure. Because honestly, this track, right, when I'm at my lowest moment, just gets us every time and like lifts us up. So I just think it's me personal anthem.
Yeah, that's all right. That's fine. That's
I also DJed for Maximo Park at their first gig, and Paul sang with them in the Head of Steam in Newcastle.
Wait, what did you play?
Fucking just old school and fucking dance music.
Right, I don't know why, but I pictured like a really young, cheeky chappy Addy playing like industrial Dutch hardcore or something before Maximo Park.
Nah.
Have you ever had one of those bottles of Maximo Park brown ale?
No.
I've never tasted one, but I know where there is one.
Oh.
In Tony's house, who bum rushed the show earlier, they've got a bottle of Maximo Park brown ale, and it's the one that his wife will not let him drink, so it'll always be the one that got away from him.
Get in.
Like, hopefully he'll have listened back and he'll be like, "Oh, Mrs., I'm gonna go and drink your brown ale." But no, it's been really nice getting to sit down and talk with you.
It's been much.
Me and Addy treasure our patrons very much, don't we, Addy?
So much.
And it's wonderful that
So
what you do helps
very
us
much.
contribute to what we do, which is basically just talk shit about music and put a few random tunes together and get on the wrong side of YouTube. But in any case, we'll leave the podcast for now, or your selections of the podcast the way we always do, which is with you introducing your own personal anthem. So,
it is Maximo Park, the Mark Ronson version, Apply Some Pressure.
I like to wait to see how things turn out. If you apply some pressure, I like to wait to see how things turn out. If you apply some pressure. You know that I would love to see you next year. I hope that I am still alive next year. You magnify the way I think about myself. Before you came, I really thought about myself. Behind your veil, I found the body underneath. Inside your head, with things I never thought about. You know that I would love to see you next year. I hope that I am still alive next year. What's my view? Well, how am I supposed to know? Like to review. Well, how objective can I be? What's my view? Well, how am I supposed to know? Like to review. Well, how objective can I be? I like to wait to see how things turn out. If you apply some pressure, I like to wait to see how things turn out. If you apply some pressure. What happens when you lose everything? Start all over again. I like to wait to see how things turn out. If you apply some pressure, I like to wait to see how things turn out. If you apply some pressure. What happens when you lose everything? You just start again. You start all over again. What happens when you lose everything? You just start again. Start all over again. Start all over again. Start all over again.
The On The Rave podcast is available absolutely everywhere to download, and you can get in touch with us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/On The Rave. You can find us on Twitter @On The Rave. You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/On The Rave. We are on Instagram.
That's my favourite one then.
Where you can find us on the rave with Addy and Gav, where you can see pictures of what Addy's been doing during the week.
Shenanigans.
We are powered by Podbean
and fueled by Basement Snacks.
Don't forget that you can go into Ridley Place, wander down that spiral staircase and scream at Dom's
On The Rave,
and she will give you 10% off all of your cookies and snacks.
Goodness.
It's good. Well, would you know it, we got all the way to an end. Another end of another one of those motherfucking podcasts, Addy. How you feeling? You know what, you sound a lot better than when we first started.
Yes, I'm turning to science to save me.
Turning to science to save me.
Indeed, it's the only way. Science is the future, and the future is not listening to fucking lying doctors. It's just relying on my own scientific endeavours. There's no better scientific endeavour than me picking the scientific track of the week.
Right, brilliant. So, to end this, the 28th of our Hardcore History podcast, Addy, how deep have you had to delve into your rucksack of scientific shenanigans?
This is one that I definitely played at the Cooperage, like last track of the night. So just something very special to my heart that I'd actually almost forgotten about this track, and then it just popped up in a little timeline, and I was just like, you're a saucy scientific bastard, you. And this is the masterful Otto van Schirach with Another Night, Another Rave.
Oh, my lord. This is a beast. Otto's a good guy. He gave me a t-shirt for my birthday because Ed Cox made all of Bangface sing happy birthday to us. We love a bit of Otto, so let's get that blasted out forward. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and listening to our science and shenanigans. Next time out, we're going to have our other beautiful patron, hopefully coming on the show. So, Ollie, get ready. And for now, we will leave you all with some delitish Otto van Schirach. I have been Gav.
Addy.
He's a croaky Addy, and it is time for us to say that we are officially
I'm off the rave, but back onto the deathbed.
It hasn't worked its way from the testicles.
I want to know if it was true that cum turns your teeth white.
Another night, another vision of love. You feel joy, you feel pain, cause your thighs in vain. My penis is an eye in the ring.
going to get feces on his penis.
Just another night, another vision of love. You feel joy, you feel pain, 'cause your thighs in vain. My penis thrives in the ring of the bell. As the rave in hell, I rave to you. Baby, I'm wet. I rave to you in the night. I rave all the love so true. In the night, I rave all the love so true. In the night, I rave all the love so true.
On the rave!
Hi, this is Mark Archer from Alternate.
Hi, this is Ian from Dream Frequency.
This is Slipmatt, and you're in tune to the On the Rave.
On the Rave
On the rave!
Podcast.
Watch your bass fins, I'm telling you.